Sonic the Hedgehog is one of the most popular and recognized video game franchises, and since its original release in 1991, has had over 50 games released for the franchise. Some of those games are great, and some of them are not. In this list, we're looking at the top 10 worst Sonic the Hedgehog games. Guns! Explosions! Guns!
Have you ever seen anything as edgy as this?
Damn.
Shadow the Hedgehog is a game I'm sure you've heard much about, and had to listen to it being made fun of multiple times. This is because it was Sega's attempt to make a badass, edgy, dark hero sort of thing, and as such focused an entire game on Shadow the Hedgehog. The game itself is not the worst thing ever. In fact, I used to hold a personal fondness for the game. The ability to drive cars, shoot guns, and the branching paths of the game made it somewhat unique at the time and had appealing aspects. Despite this, the ridiculous dialogue and forceful edginess is what causes Shadow the Hedgehog to be impossible to take seriously and can honestly only be played ironically. I mean, for God's sake, the menu sound effect is a gunshot.
Damn.
Black Knight and Secret Rings get to share a spot for both having the same issues, but also for being part of a trilogy that never eventuated. Both were available on the Wii, and were part of a storybook series that saw Sonic and friends in a new setting or theme. Secret Rings has an Arabian Nights theme, featuring a genie as the antagonist, while Black Knight focuses on knights and the like, featuring well-known Sonic characters as famous knights. For example, Knuckles being Gawain. While both games have a decent story and a cool concept, both fall flat on the execution. Secret Rings is a full-priced version of Temple Run with immense difficulty, and Black Knight suffers from poor controls and gameplay. I did it. Due to both games being such failures, the storybook trilogy never received its third game. Look, let me get something straight. I do not hate Sonic R. I do not think it is as bad a game as everyone seems to think. By no means do I think it is a good game, but it is certainly not the worst game ever, nor is it even the worst Sonic game ever, hence me placing it at only number 8. What does it do wrong, however? Well, when I think Sonic, I think speed. So a Sonic racing game makes sense, right? Well, Sega agreed, but apparently this is what they thought a Sonic racing game should look like. The controls are broken, the levels are awfully designed, and this music! There's not much to say about Sonic R that hasn't already been said. I don't hate it too much, but it is a pretty bad game. And it is pretty much unplayable due to the things I listed earlier. And as John Tron once said,
They programmed magnets into the walls,
making every race a lot more challenging and unenjoyable than it should be. Games are supposed to be fun. This is not fun. But what is fun is the title screen. Yay! There's really not that much to say about Sonic Blast. I mean, I don't even know what I can really say about it. Is Sonic, is 3D, and it's not good. But you can do this. Imagine Mario Party, but with a blue hedgehog, a story, and without any of the good bits. Now you have Sonic Shuffle. You know those crappy party games that attempted to leech off the success of the aforementioned critically acclaimed Mario Party franchise? Yeah, Sonic Shuffle is just like that, but worse. The game operates on a card-based system, though it contains not only a convoluted story about this thing wanting you to stop this thing from getting the precious stones, yes, that is one word, did I also mention the game takes place in Imaginary World, and must complete various boring minigames to do so. Plus, you will spend more time waiting for loading screens than playing the actual game. Shuffle is not only an awful Sonic game, but also an awful party game. Aha! Alright, next up on the list is... Jesus Christ! Next up is Sonic 3D Blast. Ooh, I hate this game. 3D Blast attempts to try something different with Sonic, taking our hero on a 3D top-down adventure in which the player must navigate Sonic in confusing levels to collect flickies, which are impossible to find, in order to complete levels, of which there are way too many. Also, the controls are the clunkiest I've ever seen, and the camera makes me want to throw up. The game looks and plays terrible. is way too difficult and not fun for its own good, and feels more like a crappy rip-off of a Sonic game than an actual Sonic game. Unfortunately, it is an actual Sonic game, and an awful one at that. Do you like cars? Do you like speed? Do you like going fast? Well, play Mario Kart, because the only thing Sonic Drift has is cars. Though heavily restrained by the limited graphics and capabilities of the Game Gear, there is no excuse as to why Sonic Drift is such a horrible game. It's not broken or unfinished, like many other games on this list. Rather, it's just straight up boring and unenjoyable. A cheap rip-off of Mario Kart made with the intention of making a quick buck, just like that of Sonic Shuffle. The game gives you the amazing variety of 4 characters, and barely any more tracks. Races are horribly executed, and are filled with impossible to dodge obstacles, and every time you go off the track, Satan comes out of the underworld to screech at you. Also worth mentioning is that your character never leaves the same spot on the screen, and the map ahead of you is incredibly difficult to see as everything looks the same. Sonic Drift is an awful game that really didn't need an equally awful sequel. I hate this game. The footage you are watching now should be pretty self-explanatory as to why. Sonic is supposed to go fast. Labyrinth sees the blue bird doing quite the opposite, forcing the player to navigate through awful levels with slippery and broken controls, collecting keys to progress, while failing to dodge ridiculous enemies while listening to this music. This seems a tad familiar, but I can't quite place it. Before every level, the game wishes you good luck, because you're going to need it. And what amazing explanation does the game give you as to why Sonic is moving so slowly? Well, we turn to the game manual for that, which states that Eggman slipped weights into Sonic's shoes while he was sleeping. Ah, yes, of course. What? I hate Sonic Labyrinth so much, and even at the time, it was Wait, what? Yes, we all saw this one coming. Sonic the Hedgehog 06 is a terrible game. In fact, it can hardly even be called a game. Sega didn't even bother to finish it before it was released, due to rushing its production. As a result, Sonic the Hedgehog was a total mess, and instead of serving as a reboot to the Sonic franchise, it served as a game that essentially killed the entire brand. The game had potential, which is really sad when you think about it. It boasted more modern gameplay and a massive story containing every main Sonic character at the time, and granted the player the ability to play as some of them, which was quite unique for a Sonic game. Unfortunately, the constant glitches of the game renders these additions useless, and the massive story ended up being a disgusting mess that is impossible to take seriously, much like Shadow the Hedgehog. I mean, this happens, and Eggman looks like this, and ugh. If only Sega hadn't rushed the game's production, then it could have avoided becoming notorious for being the worst game ever made. And finally, for the #1 worst Sonic game ever, Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric. God damn, I hate this game. I wasn't a big fan of Sonic Boom from the get-go, and after 2 years I somehow despise it even more. Sure, the comic series and cartoon aren't that bad, but the games, specifically Rise of Lyric, are absolute trash. Rise of Lyric suffers from all of the same issues that 06 does, with a ridiculous amount of glitches, boring and repetitive gameplay, this, and so much more that contributes to it being the #1 on this list. Rise of Lyric is an awful, awful game. Why is this the case? Because Sonic Team didn't even make it. No, instead, a game company by the name of Big Red Button did. Obviously, they looked to 06 as an inspiration, because if they were aiming to replicate the style of the game, they nailed it. Somehow, being an even worse game than 06 and containing both more boring gameplay and even more glitches, it deserves the #1 spot. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed, and be sure to comment down below and leave a like if you did. Also be sure to subscribe if you haven't already to keep up to date with future videos. I've got more Sonic videos on the way, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching, and see you guys next time. Diamond Bolt out.